Welcome everyone to the Dragoon's Lair podcast. I am the Blue Dragoon himself, Daniel the Dragon, and with me once again, as per usual, the man himself, the family man, the incomparable James Haynes.
I've come out of the sphere again for this lovely podcast.
That's right, folks. So we are back. We had something planned. Things came up, so we're going to be doing a normal episode. So we are going to be discussing Peacemaker, the latest 2 episodes. We're going to be talking about the Devo documentary on Netflix, as well as we're going to be having a discussion about Sandman Season 2. So we're going to be having a lot more to say on a few other topics, but I want to start everything off with an anime review because I did get a chance to go to the movie theater and see Demon Slayer Infinity Castle, the first movie in the series. And I honestly hate saying this, but I don't like giving anything a perfect score because nothing is actually perfect. This movie is literally the closest thing to perfect as I've come across. I had to rate it a 10 out of 10.
Good.
When it comes to this movie. I saw it dubbed in the theaters. My only true complaint was the 30 fucking minutes of trailers before the movie. The movie was set to start at 3:30. 30 minutes later, it's 4 o'clock and the movie's finally starting. So you know what that means. I'm going to end up having to use the bathroom for a 2.5 hour plus movie. So I'm going to need to go at a certain time. Thankfully, it just so happened that a villain backstory to make you feel empathetic for one of the demons, it fell at the right moment so I could go to the bathroom. I hate getting up and leaving the theater for this, especially because I know it's not going to be streaming anytime soon. Crunchyroll has a bad habit, especially when it comes to the movies. My Hero Academia movie, I forget which one of them, took over a year after it came out of the theaters before we were ever able to see it.
Well, it gave it at least a little time if they had to dub and re-edit anything.
No, it was already dubbed. Saw it in the theaters dubbed. So that makes it even more ridiculous when you're seeing it in the theaters dubbed. So they have the sub, they have the dub. There's no excuse. And they are delaying it. So I can understand delaying the Demon Slayer movie, Infinity Castle, a little bit, only because of the fact that it's going to be like 1-2 years before we get the next part of the story, which to me sucks because now I really want to see the next part.
Oh, yes. Oh, you mean like us waiting for the Spider-Verse movie?
Yeah, waiting quite a bit for that
one.
Yeah,
27. But they did announce for 27 some good news, and they've shown it on TV.
Yep.
The clip of the first read of Spaceballs 2.
Yeah, I don't want to know anything about it.
No one does.
No, I don't want to see anything because as far as I'm concerned, I want to enjoy this movie cold. It's been so long since the first movie. I need to go into this.
I love the teaser though.
But the fact that Josh Gad got involved and he wrote the script for this and convinced Mel Brooks, it was perfect.
Not only that, they convinced somebody to come out of retirement.
Yeah, listen, when you get Rick Moranis to come out of retirement,
he looks
thank
pretty
you.
Good.
Oh, listen, he looks great. The thing is, it's like I wanted a cameo of him in Ghostbusters for the Frozen Empire.
Yes.
But unfortunately, that didn't happen.
No.
But the fact that we're getting Rick Moranis back in Spaceballs 2.
As Dark Helmet.
Yep. But yeah,
and
no.
But
listen, but my thing is though, the fact that I had to give a 10 out of 10 for the Demon Slayer movie, it kind of hurts me a little bit because nothing is perfect. There shouldn't be anything perfect. How Miyazaki movies, Studio Ghibli stuff, that has come, I would say, pretty much a 9 out of 10, as close as you can get.
Maybe even 9.5 still.
No, 9. I will not give a half for that. And I don't. And we typically go on a scale of 1 to 5, and I don't like giving anything a perfect score. I had to give this one basically a perfect score. we're going to go into the fall anime. They will be starting in October after this episode has dropped. So I don't want to touch on anything, but I will say that the final season of My Hero Academia is going to drop in the beginning of October. We've got a Chainsaw Man movie that's going to be going to the theaters, along with Chainsaw Man Season 2. You've got One Punch Man is coming out for its 3rd season after a long hiatus. So we've got a lot to look forward to when it comes to anime in the fall, and we'll cover more of that as we go on.
Yes.
But I honestly hate giving anything a perfect rating. I do. I'm a little behind. I got the last 2 episodes of Sakamoto Days to watch, so I'm holding back a little bit. Great season came out that finished up pretty much. There's one dubbed episode, I think, left for My Dress Up Darling. Kaiju number 8 finished up already. So there's a bunch of stuff that's winding down with its dubs. So as it goes on, I'll discuss more about that.
The Tojin Aki that I've been watching.
I didn't start that one yet because
that's doing very good.
There's been too much, but we do have to address something that happened while we were on break. Jimmy Kimmel got pulled off of air. He's back on air now, but I have to address Disney in a sense because you went and lost $4 billion because you basically went and bent the knee to a tyrannical bunch of fascist assholes that are sitting there trying to control free speech. Now, I'm going to say this because it needs to be said.
Mind you, we are not a political organization, folks.
No, but I'm going to say this. What happened was a tragedy. No one should be a victim of any form of violence, especially when it takes someone's life. However, one thing should not overshadow the school shooting that took place on the exact same day.
That's right.
You are claiming that someone is a hero when they were just a podcaster. We have a podcast. We can say this. We are not heroes. We should not be held to some higher standard. We are just giving our opinion on movies. He gave a bunch of opinions that I disagree with. But no violence should happen to anyone. But when no one is making fun of this, and Jimmy Kimmel should not have been taken off the air, Disney should not have jumped the gun. And now, because Disney has already paid this tyrannical fascist, what was it, $16 million?
$16 million.
Yeah, he's going for more because now you brought Kimmel back. However, you lost $4 billion because everyone boycotted you. Jimmy, I know you've canceled your Disney Plus account.
I had to take a very deep amount of Tylenol for that.
Yep, and I'm still debating on if I'm dropping my account or not, but there's one thing that's making it a little bit easier. It's the fact that they're raising their prices. You lost $4 billion, and you think, oh, people are going to just come right back to us after the protest because, oh, we brought Kimmel back, so it's going to be okay. No. You decided you're going to jack up the price. So now I got an email that says my bill in October after October something, it's going to go up to $25 a month. I'm sorry. You're raising the price. No. You should be thanking the people that didn't leave and offering an incentive for people who stayed, and to get people to come back, you should be lowering your price. It's bad enough that the ESPN app, along with that, is now price gouging the hell out of everyone for a WWE event because, I'm sorry, $30 for funniest and stupidest name for probably
WrestlePalooza.
Yes, for probably the worst event that they've had all year long. You are going to charge an extra $30 a month for this. I'm sorry, you are price gouging, and I'm going to say this right now because I need this to be clear. Clinton signed off while he was president that took away the ability to stop some of these monopolies. And one of the things that happened under his administration was the AOL Time Warner merger. And that went between him and Bush Jr. Now, one of the worst things to happen because monopolies are starting to come up more and more. We need to stop the mergers for all these corporations because they're price gouging the hell out of all of us. It's bad enough that this administration has not lowered any prices. They are not protecting us, so the price for gas has gone up, the price for food is going up. It was bad before, but things were starting to go down, and congratulations. We are now hitting a point where they are trying to make everyone who is struggling have even less and punishing all of us. Disney, you've made a bad call, and I'm advocating for you guys right now. Lower the price, do not raise the price, because that is going to be where you thought, oh, everyone's going to come back to us because we didn't fire Kimmel, but we suspended him. No. What you've done is you lost money, and now you're doing the same thing that tariffs do, which you're passing on the cost to us. You lost $4 billion. I'm sorry, your corporate executives could probably take a pay cut for a little while. You don't need to be making billions of dollars. Nope. You lost $4 billion. Ooh, you guys price gouged the hell out of us because after COVID, you raise the price when you go to Disney because it's now went from $200 to $250 for the build your own lightsaber experience. You want to build your own droid? That's $250. That's not including the over $100 to get into the parks. So congratulations. You are making it very easy for people to cancel, and you are helping to generate more piracy because people may want to see what you have, but they're not willing to spend, and they don't want to support you. And now I'm pretty sure a bunch of Marvel movies are going to pay the price for this one, along with a bunch of series that are going to come out because guess what? People are not going to see it. And even if they do, it's because they're going to pay for a month and cancel once everything's said and done. They will binge and say goodbye. The same way I did with Peacock for every one of the WWE PLEs that I wanted to see. I would pay for a month and dip out. And I primarily only did that for WrestleMania. You don't have something like that. So congratulations. You made a huge mistake. And I'm a huge Tron fan. And now you're making me even not want to go to the theater to see that because I don't want to give you guys any extra money whatsoever. Now that the soapbox rant is over, let's go and we're going to talk about, let's discuss Peacemaker with the latest 2 episodes. Yep, I know. Yep. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to get into some spoiler territory. You know,
sorry.
Now, let's just be clear here. We went and episode number 5, Peacemaker's trying to find out if he should go and ditch one dimension for another. And he's basically arrested and beaten the hell out of by Rick Flag Sr. And I have to say, watching Grillo and Cena not fighting back and Grillo beating the hell out of him.
Hysterical.
It was impressive seeing the hole in the wall from Grillo knocking Peacemaker back. Flag Sr. has every reason, but he also has a plan up his sleeve. So we're seeing a lot of stuff going on, and Peacemaker makes his decision. But I think one of the funniest things is Rooker as the eagle hunter going after Eagly. And
thinking he got Eagly with that big ass, what do you call that, a cannon or a rifle? Not even a bazooka.
That was pretty much I don't know what you would call that.
I know.
That was something you would find in like One Piece for like long range firing from a
Excuse me, do you have anything about this long to shoot an eagle in the sky? Let me go check the back room.
And the thing,
I got something. Hold on a minute.
He tried to poison Eagly. That didn't work. It ended up poisoning a fox, and it just proved how smart Eagly is. Because after Eagly saw the fox, he got a group of eagles together, and they took down Rooker.
Not only did they take him down, they pecked the shit out of him. Not beat, they pecked the shit out of him.
Oh no, they tore him to shreds because Eagly came back with a finger. So I don't think we're going to be seeing the Eagle Hunter again.
No. We'll see Rooker in something else, but...
Oh, I'm sure Rooker will come back as another character because
yeah.
he was a different character in Suicide Squad, the second movie.
No, wait, he was killed in that one too.
Yep. So, hey, listen, whatever happens, happens. But no, so I have to say there was a lot of tension. Peacemaker trying to talk to Harcourt about seeing where she stands and not being able to have that conversation. The fight in the park was great. Seeing everyone like all upset that he disappeared and left them behind with the note, and now they made the decision to go after him. Now we get into episode 6.
Yes.
Oh, this one definitely needs spoilers warning because, yeah, there's no way to hide this one.
Nope.
We had a great cameo. You
Yes.
weren't now we had already seen the Justice Gang pop up in the first episode, so we saw Guy Gardner, we went and we saw Maxwell Lord, and we saw Hawkgirl. So we know that they're all in the same universe.
Which is the Gunn universe.
Yep, and James Gunn's universe that he's creating.
The Gods and Monsters.
Yep, I have to say, smart idea, bringing Superman out of the theaters and onto streaming. Superman is now available on HBO Max.
As of last Friday.
Yep. So now you're able to watch it there. You don't have to rent it off of Amazon.
Oh, you can.
Even though you still can rent it on Amazon if you're not paying for HBO Max.
No.
That's if you're not paying, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the same time, we're now seeing that the universe is showing us even more because we get Lex Luthor talking to Rick Flag Sr. Now, the 11th Street kids are now all on an alternate Earth. And that world has felt a little off since the first time Peacemaker went over there. But we finally find out why it's off. Now, now, granted, right before they all go over there, we get to see Vigilante's home and we get to see his private room. That man has tons of stolen drugs, money,
and a Beanie Baby collection up the ass.
And I'm sorry, Beanie Babies, you know.
I'm waiting for them to go up in the market. No, they're not.
I honestly would have thought if they would have known, they would have probably had a bunch of Labubus. Now, you don't know until you see it, but it is hilarious. And he has multiples of the ostrich because he thinks that's the cutest one. Now, granted, we do get to see they all travel through and they're on this alternate world.
And they're covered in some dust. We will...
A little nose candy that exploded all over them. They didn't do it, but it was all over them.
And they didn't want to be flushed because of the alligators.
I have to say, Vigilante is comedy gold. He really just does some weird shit.
He has in him all these... What's the word I'm thinking of? Like... conspiracy theories.
It's not just conspiracy theories.
They're true.
The thing is, though, if you remember season 1 of Peacemaker, he had a lot of his own theories and stuff. And the original ending for season 1 of Peacemaker, he did go and he made a lot of references to Aquaman having sex with fish. So yeah, which is funny because they basically play that up with the boys. Because the Deep has a relationship with an octopus. So it's just one of those things where it's like, if you've seen The Boys, it makes it a little easier to believe Aquaman with fish. But no, so they've changed that up. But he was a conspiracy theorist with a lot of stuff. He still kind of does it, but not as much. But Vigilante's got he doesn't even have the right facts for a lot of these animals that he claims he loves and he has all this information on. He is comedy gold. The same way Eagly is comedy gold, where Eagly pecking at a bunch of bologna and couldn't get into the olive loaf. He couldn't get into the olive loaf until Adebayo goes and opens it for him. It's absolutely hilarious. but the world that he's on does feel a little off. I mean, him, his father, and his brother, they fought a giant kaiju. You know, they do the Spider-Man meme with both of versions of Vigilante from each world. You know, so Spider-Man is recognized in the DC universe now. So I guess he's a form of entertainment and comedy for them. But I think one of the funniest and weirdest moments is Peacemaker and Harcourt from his universe go and they have this moment. They're leaving to try to get through Argus, and he realizes he's on Earth X, where the Schmatzy party has actually taken control. And I think one of the funniest moments has to be all the people seeing Adebayo walking down the street and they slam on their brakes, stopping, and like they're pointing. She doesn't understand what's going on until Peacemaker's brother stops, honks his horn, and screams, "It's a black." I think the only thing that has been funnier in recent times would be Dragon Ball Z Super when they're doing the Future Trunks arc with Goku Black, when they go to the future. Wait, you haven't seen it.
No, I know.
But he does go, and Trunks has to stop the rebels that are fighting against Goku Black and screams out, "Wait, he's not black." You're saying not to shoot because he's not black. Like, I know it worked just because of the mouth flaps needed to get matched, but don't shoot, he's not black. And now it's a black.
That's almost as funnier than Cartman in the supermarket going, "Attention, shoppers, there's a cripple found outside," and everybody leaves the supermarket.
Yeah, but
to see the two of them beat the shit out of each other.
That was, I think, like over a decade ago, though.
That was a decade ago, but are you still?
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not the same. Where Dragon Ball Super's been within the last 10 years, so it kind of falls into this, and it falls into the same realm where it's don't shoot, he's not black, and then you have now, it's a black, because when Peacemaker sees the symbol on the flag instead of the stars. It has the red, white, and blue, but you have a white symbol on there that's not, I don't want to get us in trouble for saying it, but, it's a symbol that's not well represented for what it was originally intended for as a symbol of to what it was corrupted as. We get the corrupted version. So they're on Earth X, which is not friendly for minorities.
Nope.
But we have to make mention to the fact that Judo Master followed Peacemaker through the dimensional door.
We haven't seen
and we have not seen him since. So this episode, we didn't even see Judo Master in episode 6, but we know he followed Peacemaker.
And there hasn't been a trail of Cheetos around anyway.
And that's he eats his flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah. So the only reason they knew it was Judo Master was the fingerprints that were left on the note he left for Argus were covered in the Cheeto dust.
When did we get a cat?
Oh, God. Yeah, it's one of those things where Peacemaker has really gone over and above when it comes to this. So I am seriously looking forward to the last 2 episodes, which we will discuss next episode of the Dragoon's Lair podcast. So make sure you tune in for that.
And if you have any questions or inquiries about the Peacemaker episode or anything we've discussed so far, you can email us at
dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslairpodcast@gmail.com. Although I would suggest you would be better suited at messaging James Gunn on his socials or Instagram or even on X.
Yes.
Threads. Maybe find John Cena. Ask him a couple questions. He's pretty entertaining on his socials, so I think it would be an interesting thing to, message him. John, love to have you on the episode,
Yep.
Love to talk to you.
Love to talk
Huge
to you.
fan.
Mr. Gunn.
Yeah.
And bring your brother with you.
Oh.
Absolutely, bring Sean.
Yep. But, John, bring Juan Cena. Haven't seen Juan in a while. But,
See?
yeah, but now we got to, so far, the Peacemaker has really been...
It's where season 1, and it's gone a little bit more to season 2.
Well, they've now readjusted, so they rewrote a couple of the elements from the end of season 1 to fit.
Snyderverse.
Yeah, so they've kind of corrected a couple of things to fit the newer version.
Yep.
I haven't gone back to see if they changed the last episode.
Neither have I.
So that might be something people may want to do. Go back and watch season 1,
Unless they did a Lucas of it.
which I'm hoping they didn't.
No.
Which now we got to talk about. I want to discuss the Devo documentary.
Absolutely.
The Devo documentary, I was
Which is on Netflix.
Yes, I was extremely impressed with. I didn't know that much about Devo.
I didn't realize Devo was around in the Now here's some funny facts. I didn't realize they were around in the 70s. Up to this point, and also because I've been watching on Peacock the Saturday Night Live's the original first 5 seasons, which they show you in 60-minute bits, which is perfect because they put in one song or maybe 2 of the musical acts, and one of them happened to be Devo, and I'm like, and then I see the song they're doing, and I'm like, wait a minute, I thought that came out after.
Nope.
No, exactly. But I do have, even after this, I do have to make a comment on something because I was a little.
Now
they forgot something.
Oh, they definitely did, because Devo put out an album in the 2000s. I would say close.
Even rewinded.
But
the 80s.
No, but they did go and they put out an album, I believe, before the passing of 2 of their members. Yeah. So they had been I bought that album. I didn't own really any of the Devo albums from back in the day, but I bought that one album. John Zaluga, a friend of ours, was telling me about it. He was talking about Devo, and it made me want to go and get it, so I bought it.
Yeah.
So I have it. Absolutely worth it. I didn't realize how much of an experimental band they were, and the amount. But the amount of videos that they put out.
Before MTV,
and then MTV was constantly playing Devo, but I was a kid at that time and didn't have cable, so I didn't know.
And you know what makes me laugh now, though?
Go ahead.
You have them as having X amount of videos, and the first video that they aired was Video Killed the Radio Star, who was with, Hans Zimmer?
Well, that was the Buggles.
That was the Buggles. But now here's a funny thing on it. You take Zimmer, and you take the Mothersburgs, and you're like, wait a minute, these are 2 groups that people forget, but all they know them as is Gladiator and the Rugrats themes, and all that, and it's still amazing.
Oh yeah, and the fact that
to go back,
and the fact that he mixed in, which we find out in the documentary, while he's making all of these songs and stuff, he's finding ways to put in where he reversed it, where it's Everybody Loves Sausage.
Yes.
It's like...
And having David Bowie
was one of their big backers early on.
Yes.
Although knowing that they got screwed because of Rupert Murdoch with Virgin Records and Warner Brothers getting into a fight because they had a verbal agreement with Warner Brothers, and then they signed with Virgin.
Yeah, that was Branson, Richard Branson.
Branson,
who wanted to save them.
Yeah. But, look, they did a lot.
Yeah.
Whip It was their big hit.
That everybody remembers.
Everybody remembers Whip It. But
the only way you knew about Satisfaction is if you got one of those K-Tel records back in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah, there was, you didn't know as much about Devo as you learn in this one.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely eye-opening because the fact that they were an experimental band where they were pretty much more films before, but the music came in. They were considered punk for a while, even though they were basically making fun of punk.
Yep.
It was so enlightening. I was not expecting to learn that much about Devo, and they have such an interesting past. I can't even go over all of the things that were in there, but the fact that people didn't like that they were merchandising themselves in the albums, selling like the spiral cone hats and like the hairstyle that was based off of Kennedy, and people thought it was Reagan.
Hey, and if you look at it, they had Live at 5 with Jack Cafferty on, which is from New York.
Oh yeah, they did a lot. They performed at CBGBs and stuff. They were a lot.
At Max's.
Yeah, they were a lot more influential than I think people realize.
Yes.
And I mean, like Freedom to Choice, like a lot of their songs are really good. I would highly recommend anybody watch this documentary.
Go back into Spotify and iTunes if you have the know-how and everything.
Oh no! Listen, Spotify is just type in Devo.
Yeah, exactly.
Look up their music, purchase their stuff on iTunes and everything. Because one interesting thing that I will say was that they realized they were making less money when they started selling more cassette tapes. So they made more money on vinyl than they did with the cassette tapes. So the record company's making more money off the cassette tapes, but the band is making less money. And it was like, oh, well, that's the way it is.
Yep.
And it's terrible that stuff like that happens in the music industry, but Devo really was ahead of their time. I would consider Devo probably to be like, for the music industry, they were the John Carpenters of the music industry. They were ahead of their time. And they were
Andy Warhols also the way they did their videos.
But they were also so far ahead because they were doing stuff that was experimental that became what other people did. They just had a smaller budget. So then big budget music videos, they're hiring bigger directors. Devo was directing their own videos and stuff. So my hat's off to everyone that was involved with Devo, because they really did put out some amazing stuff that they didn't get the credit that they deserved. So I highly recommend it. Jimmy?
You're not going to hear me deny that. I totally agree and everything. And with the history of music and seeing where they went after that and everything, it's so happy and refreshing to remind everybody hey, I got to see what else is out there too. And go back and find, if you can, even on YouTube, go back and look for even the MTV, because a lot of people put up, not a lot of people realize this, they put up the old MTV broadcasts and everything, and they'll watch them, and that could be in 2-hour spurts. They'll watch them.
Yeah, but they need to be careful when you're on YouTube and stuff because of copyright and everything.
But
so
some of the stuff that's there, it's like amazing.
Well, that's why, like, I suggest going on like iTunes
and Spotify. But for videos, definitely even check there too.
You know, look them up online, and you'll see like there's a bunch of stuff. And watch the documentary. You will definitely learn a lot more about this band than you ever thought you knew. And like I said, the only thing that like I was a little disappointed with was they didn't touch on their last like leg of them kind of coming back. But then again, you can kind of understand because they lost 2 band members.
Well, you know that, like I said, in the 80s, they missed something they never covered or never even put in a snippet. You know, they made an appearance on Square Pegs.
Yeah, but you know,
that was during Jamie Gertz's character, her Sweet 16. They got to play, and they did like a couple of songs and everything. And I'm surprised they never showed that.
They probably weren't able to get the rights to any of the footage from that, because that would be like a television show. So that there's going to be some licensing rights issues. Now, we got to talk about Sandman season 2.
Yes.
Now, I never read the Sandman comics.
Agreed.
Now,
but Neil Gaiman is a freaking genius.
Well, here's the thing. Now, I'm going to say this in all respect, and Neil Gaiman has written a lot of things that are part of the zeitgeist. They are been highly influential in a lot of areas. However, he's got controversy going on that I don't really want to touch that right now. But I don't want to give him too much credit, because even though he was an influential individual with his work, they kind of removed his name off of like Good Omens and stuff because of allegations. Now, I don't know. I don't want to go into them because, it's something that is heinous, and I'm not going to spread any of the information. You can Google the Neil Gaiman controversies and stuff, and see if that's something.
We're here to talk about the good stuff, not that.
Well, it's we talk about other things as well, and
but at least on Sandman's point of view.
But Sandman was a very influential comic and stuff. Now they did make a few changes. I don't know if we discussed it if it was me and Mike, if we talked about the first season of Sandman or not. But I mean, they changed over John Constantine to Joanna Constantine. Yep. So, there's a few changes that I know were made from the comics. Lucifer was not played by the same actor from, we all wanted Tom Ellis's Lucifer, we wanted the other John Constantine.
Yep.
But I will say Jenna Coleman did a great job as Joanna Constantine. The Lucifer character was done very well. And I know that was part of the comics of Lucifer going and handing over the keys to hell to Sandman. So Morpheus got those. The aspects that were involved in like the storytelling were so impressive. And the way that they did everything, the effects, there was emotional like gravitas to it where you could feel for these characters that were supposed to be gods. And these aren't characters you would think you would feel emotionally invested with. And it's something that I gotta say, I think was probably best well done in the final episode, which was Death having one day. They're one day out of 100 years where they get to go and experience life.
Yep.
Like, you felt for Death. You were seeing, like, how a god would be considered a child being able to experience the things that a mortal would be able to experience. And that includes having their own body end its existence because it was only for a day.
Mm-hmm.
But you also felt for the character that was walking around with her, who was a writer, and he was depressed. It tackles some very hard themes because he was looking to end his own existence, and by the end of it, he's not even thinking about that. Oh. He's experienced something that I would think most people would have either traumatized them, but it gave him a different perspective and made him really rethink where, he was upset with the loss of, like, not being with his girlfriend, which I think is something everyone can relate to, of a breakup, and, the other person doesn't want anything to do with you. Some relationships end badly. Sometimes people can stay close and be friends. It all depends on how the relationship goes. And this one was very deep. And it was like season 1, where the final episode of the season, which was a bonus episode, where it followed like an animated bunch of cats.
Yes.
So, like, yeah, the season really, this season for Sandman, which I know is the final season, they're not doing anymore, but it had like they had the Superman references, knowing that it was part of DC in the final episode. Like, each one of these episodes, looking on how Morpheus' dream was basically going and dealing with the consequences of him and his actions with his own family. His brother, Destruction, disappearing, and him and Delusion going looking for him, which wasn't something that he wanted to do, but he was doing. There was the familial ties where he wasn't close with his family.
No.
But then seeing the new version of Dream.
Yes.
Actually having an opportunity to be close with his family.
What's amazing was it made me crack up that's the vampire in one of the vampires in Interview with the Vampire.
The series or the movie?
The series.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing, he got to play he got to play Dream. He's playing a vampire and something else. The actors are really doing a great job. I like the way that they did the Corinthian, where now it was the second Corinthian.
Yes.
And was not the same as the Corinthian from the first one.
He wasn't a prick.
Yeah, he wasn't a murderer.
Nope.
just happened to be that they did an amazing job with this. The visuals for the dreamscape, even like the fairy realm, of touching on the fact that Dream influenced and had made a deal with Shakespeare, and Shakespeare wrote 2 plays, which I believe was supposed to be The Tempest.
Yes.
And the other one was A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yep.
So I mean, there's so many elements.
What was it? Loki decided to put himself in there.
Loki was a different story because that was Puck decided to put himself into.
Yep.
And seeing a relationship between Puck and Loki after Dream had helped Loki, because Loki went and basically disguised somebody else as him so he could get away and not be punished and buried under the earth to prevent Ragnarok. Very interesting, like the portrayals of Odin and Thor and all the other gods in the different realms, because they all wanted the keys to hell.
And he's like, yeah, no.
Yep.
Can we have the keys? No.
No, he knew. I think he made a wise decision giving them to an archangel. So for the character to do something like that, because it's like, you know what? Give the keys back to them. It's supposed to be, hell is supposed to be the inverse of heaven, so why not give them the keys? Make them responsible for it.
The guy that played Morpheus, it made me laugh every time I'm watching him, I'm listening to him speak, and it always reminded me of Mark Strong. If you know who Mark Strong is, he's the actor that played Sinestro in Green Lantern. And,
oh God,
yeah,
no.
I know that one. And he's been in a few others. He was in what's her name? Cruella.
Okay.
And he's been in a few, but that made me laugh. It sounds just like him.
Well,
It was the British.
There's a lot of British accents in this, considering they used a lot of British actors. So, and it made sense for the story.
And they used Patton Oswalt as the Crow.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt, the Crow, and the Pumpkin, Mark Hamill.
With the machine gun.
Oh, seeing Mark Hamill's character, I keep feeling like he was Lord Pumpkin, but that was more like, I always remember that character that they used for Malibu Ultraverse comics in the 90s.
Yeah.
And they had Lord Pumpkin, and there was an actual God Wheel story where they go to Asgard. And the fact that Malibu Ultraverse was bought by Marvel, so I wish they would do something with those characters, because I always loved Malibu Ultraverse comics. There was the short-lived cartoon show, which you can watch on Amazon, which is Ultra Force, which was their version of kind of the Avengers, because they had a bunch of the different characters all coming together fighting a bunch of different villains from the Malibu Ultraverse.
Speaking of Amazon, by our next episode, I want to remind everybody and hope they can catch up. I'd like to talk about Season 2, Gen V.
Exactly. That's what I was going to be mentioning, that we will be discussing that. There are 4 episodes in at the time of recording. I wanted to give us a little space between, because we had so much with Peacemaker, and we did have to address the Jimmy Kimmel situation. We are so glad he's back on the air.
Absolutely.
But Disney, once again, do us all a favor. Reverse your decision about raising your prices. Your executives can take no bonuses. They don't need a bonus. You could probably take a couple pay cuts and it wouldn't hurt you. We need people to be in the film industry to be a little more responsible, because, I'm sitting there and I'm watching a bunch of other things as well. And I'm watching from Shudder the 3rd installment of In Search of Darkness documentary series about horror movies and stuff. They make mention of Trauma in this one for Class of Nukem High. They talked to a bunch of them, and they were lower budget movies, but there were so many good ones and fun movies that we did. And I think now the problem ends up being nobody wants to take chances anymore.
I just picked up from, speaking of Shudder, a Chris Jericho movie.
Oh, God.
Dark Match. It's a wrestling movie horror.
Oh God.
And everything. So I got looking forward to that, and I'll give a review. One thing I want to say, even into my golden vault. Speaking of Amazon, everybody remembers Beryl Smith, or as they used to call him, Gopher, on the Love Boat. Well, Fred Grandy, before he went to the Love Boat and to Congress, he was on a Saturday morning kids show called The Monster Squad, and what it is he is the night curator of a museum, and he wants to go to the police academy and everything, and he somehow brings his crime lab into this museum, and he gets the monsters resurrected, and they go off on hero streaks in a way. So it's very good nostalgia. If you want to pick up on it, go right ahead. I've already been in like 2-3 episodes. I had it before. Unfortunately, it swam away, but yes, I know that's about 13 years down the line, but you want to know something? Catching up with it was actually fun. I used to remember watching it when I was a kid. Always remember 11 o'clock. Waited for that.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean, we're in spooky season.
Yes, we
so, we need to hit very specific key elements to things. That's why, like I said, I've been watching the third part of In Search of Darkness. They are long documentaries, mind you. I'm not even done with it. It's over 5 hours long for the third part.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot that to be said, and like they talk about Witchboard in the third part, which they talk about Tawny Katane. It's nice to know like she was wonderful on set and everything, and that she was a good person, and that a lot of people have fond memories of her since she's passed. There is so much that we can discuss, and horror movies are typically my bread and butter.
Oh, yes.
Love horror movies and stuff, but at the same time, I'm a huge anime guy as well, so it just ends up being...
We blend everything in.
Oh, yeah. There are certain elements of things that work and certain things that don't, and it's unfortunate because I know that a bunch of people are going to be upset with certain movie choices that we make, but we can't cover everything. Although, if you'd like to make a recommendation for a horror
email, my man.
That's right. If you want to make a recommendation for a horror movie or any other movie you'd like for us to check out, or even a series, you can send us an email at dragoonslayerpodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word, Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's dragoonslayerpodcast@gmail.com. Now, we're making this a little bit more of a tighter episode because, I hit that soapbox rant. I don't like doing it as often as I've had to, but unfortunately, I have to be clear on this one. Tragedies are happening constantly, and no one should have to be, no one's families need to have to be victims or have to deal with the loss of family members from violence in any form. I think one of the best things that was ever said, talk about the movie Friday. It was said between Craig and his dad, where Craig's dad told him, it's like, you don't need a gun. It's like, back in my day, these were all you needed. You win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day. So using your fists and your words is so much more important than picking up something that will basically go and not only ruin your life or someone else's life, but it affects everyone.
Didn't even John Singleton go over that with who was it? Lawrence Fishburne and what's his name's character in one of the other movies, where he says, "Oh, you're gonna pull a gun out, huh? You think you're tough? You think you're tough, huh?"
Yep.
That was another thing with it.
And that's the thing.
Cuba Gooding.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Nowadays, we've got a lot of tragedies going on here, and I think we need to start putting the hatred and everything to the side. No matter how much you disagree with someone and what they have to say, no one should have to suffer. And no one's family should have to suffer because of the stupidity and actions of people that are mentally unwell, that are willing to do things. We need to normalize mental health in this country, and instead of going backwards and stifling mental health. And I encourage anyone out there to go and seek help. Therapists are so readily and
Please
easily
reach
available.
out to me on all my sites. I have the National Alliance for Mental Illness. I have their website. I have their information. There are a good bunch of human beings on this island. They've helped numerous people. They still help numerous people and everything. And as we say, I got people. Do I have people, Danny?
You've got people.
I got people.
I'm people who knows people.
I got Harlem.
Hey.
I got Harlem, Richie.
Yeah.
I got Harlem, as he says. That's
Now,
it.
but I do want to celebrate something, and I want everyone here to make sure they reach out to Jimmy and wish him a belated happy birthday. He's had another trip around the sun.
53 already, baby.
Oof. Damn. You look good for 53. Wouldn't even guess it.
Feeling good, Billy, right?
And and another thing to celebrate, at the time of recording this, I had been able to get a little bit of exercise in, set a personal record on the bench press at the gym. I am 45 years old, and a lot of people don't think that you can lift heavy as you get older, and whether you can't get back into it. I set a personal record of 275 pounds for a one rep max. So, I will be posting that on my socials. So, just to give everyone some positivity out there, that they're able to see that whether you're disabled, whether you're able-bodied, whether you're young, you're old, you can always make progress. You can always
can do anything you freaking want.
Yep. Tell yourself that you're going to do something and keep your word to yourself, because you're only as good as your word.
That's it.
And now, Jimmy, you want to give everybody your socials.
Absolutely. Blue Sky, James H925. Snapchat, James SI0925, all lowercase. Instagram and Threads, James H_the4th, all in lowercase again. James Haynes the 4th on Facebook. And you can reach me on TikTok, James0925. And if you're feeling really relaxed and need something to watch, you can catch me on Tubi. We Are Family, all 10 episodes, me and the clan. And by the way, right now, I got one that's going to be on Flipside. Sensei Mike, shout out to you and your sister, good luck. And Rachel, October 8th. Ryan Seacrest has to go one-on-one with you on the Wheel of Fortune. Good luck, my dear.
All right, and it's easy to find me because this is so simple. You only have to remember one thing. That is Blue Dragoon 13, and that's 2 O's in Dragoon. You are able to go and find me on Snapchat, Instagram. You can also find the Instagram page for the Dragoon's Lair podcast, Dragoon's Lair Official, where you can get updates and see our reels, and as well as join the Facebook group. But you can also find me, Blue Dragoon 13, on TikTok, on Instagram. You can find me on Threads. You can find me pretty much on almost any social network, including Blue Sky. X is not where you can find Blue Dragoon 13. I have not gotten rid of my account on X, but that is more just for minor promotional stuff. But yeah, you can basically find me on Blue Sky, Blue Dragoon 13. You can find me Threads, Instagram, all the good stuff, and on YouTube, all of my socials. If you find one, you find the link tree that can take you to everything, including the Twitch channel, which eventually I may stream. It all depends on you guys and building up this community. And you can also join the Discord group, where if you follow the link and you join the Discord group, maybe we can get some community events and stuff going on. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Also, leave us reviews on YouTube. What else? Not Apple Music, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcast, as well as iHeartRadio, and our home on Spotify. And also, we're on Audible if you need a break from your audio listening for whatever book you're listening to. So you can find us all there. Make sure you leave us reviews, like, share, let other people know that you're enjoying the show. I know I got a little preachy this episode, but at the same time, I want everyone to understand that we're all a community and we need to take care of each other, and we need to take the violence and the hate and basically flush it down the toilet. We need to all Stop going all radical and extremist and come back to the center and have some common sense and understand that while we may differ in opinions, let's just be honest. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. I have one, you have one. You may not like my opinion. I may not like yours. Maybe you agree with something I said, maybe you don't. But we all need to find some middle ground where we can all come together and stop the bullshit. Get along with each other. And I'm going to leave us off with one final thing, which is when we come back on our next episode, I want to see some positivity in the world. I want you guys to do just a small call of action. Do one nice thing for someone. You don't have to publicize it. You don't need to go and post that you did it, but do one good thing. Whether it's you see someone who's hungry, get them a bottle of water or a cup of coffee, something. People are out there struggling, and do one good thing. You'll find that you do that one good thing for someone else, and it may make you feel better, and you'll want to do more good. The more good we put out into the world,
That's right.
the better this world will be, and we can stop and basically push back against the constant stream of negativity and hatred that's being pushed on us. Because even though we're telling you to go to our socials to connect with us, go outside, touch some grass. We're in the fall. Check out as the leaves change. Go to the pumpkin patch. Get yourself
Enjoy
a
your
pumpkin.
apple picking.
Yeah. Do something fun. Do something for you.
Stop an escalator.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
But, remember, just be careful when you're on the escalator. You don't want to trip off the safety mechanism that will prevent you from getting sucked into the escalator mechanism. And on that note, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Now get out.
Bye.